What's up, guys? All right, I want to talk to you today about how to make your story on Saul chasing David when he's fleeing from cave to cave amazing. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read just a little tiny piece from my curriculum on David. This is lesson 4. It's called The Escape. And I want you to watch the difference between reading the story and doing little tiny simple things to make it your own. All right, so we've already talked about the fact that Saul was chasing David, but Saul has to kind of take a break from chasing David for a minute because the Philistines were attacking. So he has to leave and then he comes back. Now, when Saul comes back, I'm going to start reading. He remembers where he left David and he's determined to find him again. So he brings his men back to the very cave where David is hiding out, except Saul doesn't know that David is hiding out in there. You know what Saul knows? Saul knows he needs to pee. And he decides that the cave is the best place to do it. All right, now, first of all, as soon as you say Saul has to pee, you're going to get the attention of at least the boys in your class. All right? But here's the deal. My opinion, that script will work for a lot of your classrooms. But here's what you need to add. Here is the secret sauce to take that from just a script you're reading to a story that grips the attention of your kids, all right? Listen. So, when you read it, you're going to say, okay, Saul comes back. Now, Saul remembers exactly where he left David, and he is determined to find him again. And at this point, I want you to insert a comment. And when he finds him, he is going to destroy him. Or if you're comfortable, he is going to kill him. The moment Saul sees David, David's life is over. All right, now those two sentences are not in the script, but do you hear what I'm doing? I'm simply describing the situation, upping the ante a little more. Instead of just saying Saul wants to find David and he's not going to let him go, describe for me what the consequences, what the stakes are of this situation. And then continue reading, or Lord willing, using your own words, but using the script as a inspiration. So, Saul brings his men, he'll move this over here. So, Saul brings his men back to the very cave where he left David, and he's determined to find him again. So Saul brings his men to where David is hiding out. Except, you see, Saul doesn't know that David is hiding in there. You know what Saul knows? Saul knows he has to pee. How many of you had to pee before? You're like, Mom, help! I have to pee! Right? So, Saul decides that, a cave is not a terrible place to do it, especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere. All right? Do you see what I did? It's not rocket science, but relate to the fact that everyone has to use the restroom, and I don't think that's too vulgar. But all you're saying is Saul knows he needs to pee. Everyone needs to pee. All right? And you add some emotion and add some tension to the situation. Kids are not bored because they know the story. Kids rewatch movies they've already seen and stories they already know. They watch them over and over and over again. They just want to feel that excitement or that tension, or they want to laugh again. They just want to relive it, even though they already know it. It's the same thing with Bible stories. You're not necessarily trying to come up with the most amazing story that no one's ever heard. What you're trying to do is relive the emotion and the tension in that moment and capture that in your voice and the way you talk about the story, and then make it relatable. Saul has to pee. We all have to pee. Not only is that a great, oh yeah, everyone has to pee, but it also inserts a little bit of normalcy, and this isn't just a Bible story, but yeah, somebody who had to pee. All right, so let's get off that subject and keep going. We're almost done. And he decides the cave is the best place to do it. So, Saul goes into the cave to pee, And David and his pals see Saul come in. And the pals start telling David, now's your chance. I mean, God wouldn't have brought your enemy right into the cave if he didn't want you to get him, right? He's right there. Go get him. I mean, Saul is trying to kill David, and he is right there. It's perfect. This is a perfect opportunity. He's right there. So David gets up very quietly. He pulls his sword out of its holder, and he creeps over to where Saul is. And he raises his sword. And he cuts. But he cuts off a part of Saul's robe. He picks up the robe, and he hurries back to where his men are. All right? I'm not the world's best storyteller. You can do that. It is not hard. But do you understand that the way we just read that together is much more interesting than you simply saying, so Saul comes into the cave to pee, and David and his pals see Saul come in. And his pals start telling David that this is his chance. Surely God wouldn't have brought their enemy right into the cave if he didn't want David to do away with him, right? See the difference? It's not hard. Read through your lesson a couple times, find those moments, and get inside of them. All right? You can do it. You're awesome. Thank you for what you do to teach kids God's Word. You rock. Peace.